G'day guys, you're back with MiracleMAX. So what's in the workshop today? It's a Jeep Cherokee, Grand Cherokee 2007 model with the V6 3-litre engine in it. What's its issue? Well, it's got some serious hard starting. Let's have a look at it. Just to give you a bit of background information with regard to this particular vehicle. Now the customer has only just bought it. In fact, when they went to buy it, against my advice I must say, it wouldn't start. So the dealer put another battery in it thinking, well, that's the only issue with it. So is it? And is this battery suitable for this particular vehicle? In all fairness, this vehicle has done over 221,000 K, so it's got a few issues that the customer is aware of, and he's happy for me to look at them and try and sort them out. So let's start with the basics first, shall we? Let's start with the battery. So checking the battery, this one here is called a Mixtex. Wouldn't have a clue what that is or who it is. Apparently they just grabbed it and stuck it in at the used car dealership. Now I personally believe that this is undersized. I have checked online and found that it should be heaps bigger, and I think it should be a 810 or 850 cold cranking amp. Now according to this one it's 750. So what does my little battery tester say? Is this battery any good or not? Let's try a little bit closer, shall we? Enter. Keep going, Max. So 750, that's exactly right. And it's saying that it's a good battery. It's saying state of health 97%, state of charge 98%, 12.88 volts, that's really good. And it should have, or it's got cold cranking amps is available, is 810. So is this a good battery? What's the go? And what is our hard starting issue? So I had to go to the customer's place because this vehicle would not start. I got it up and running, fortunately, by the use of a bit of the old homebrew, as well as jumping the battery. Despite what the battery says, I feel that it's incorrect, and I'll show you why. So there's the battery there, and the carrier is down there. See that space between the battery itself and the end of the tray? Now that tells me straight away that this battery should be heaps bigger. And of course diesels take a fair bit to crank over. So I believe this is the incorrect battery, and this battery is actually struggling despite it saying that it's in good condition. I don't think that it's only the battery that's at fault. And the reason being is because I've had this in for a service since they've purchased it and given them a list, quite a list of fault codes that came off the G-scan, including these two here, P0676, P0675. Notice what they are. They're related to glow plugs. So let's check and see what other fault codes are available, if any, and if that helps us with our diagnosis. After loading up the G-scan, I can see that I have all my glow plugs are out. So does that mean that all the glow plugs are knackered, or does it mean that the actual module is faulty? Is there any way that we can tell? Some of these later model vehicles, common rail of course, have glow plugs that are superheated. They're on for a very short period of time, but a lot of current goes through them, so they get super hot. Some are actually staged. I believe these are actually pulsed through a duty cycle. So just keep an eye on the dash here. Should be around about here, I think it is, where the glow plug light is, and it should come on like that. And it's not coming on. And now it starts, of course. These keep the glow plug control module on the front of the engine here. It has a main power feed coming in. You can see how thick this red wire is. In actual fact, I did notice that it was rubbing against the housing over here, vacuum pump I think. I'll have to sort that later on. I was concerned that perhaps there was a short between here and the body, but there's not. It's just been rubbed through, but I'll sort that out later. Not really an issue. So do I need to check my module and check all this, that and everything else? Well, not really. Let's go to the end result. Let's go to the glow plug itself and see what's happening over there. As I mentioned, I've already been to the customer's place and done a bit of work already. That's why these glow plug leads are off. 1, 2, third fella right up the back there. Bit of a pain to get to. Unlike most glow plugs that I've seen before, they're not bolted down, they're simply pushed into place. You need sort of a hooky thing to get under there. That's the technical term, a hooky thing. And you just lift it up quickly like that and it'll pop off. Now like I said, checking it here at the glow plug is the best option because this is the end result, isn't it? So let's find out if the glow plugs are getting power to them and then the condition of the glow plugs. How do we do that? Although we couldn't get the glow plug to come on the dash, I believe that that's simply because the engine is now warm and we're not seeing that light come on the dash. But does that mean that the system is not working? Not necessarily. I've just popped in my LED test light. I'm going to use an LED test light in this particular case. Normally I'd use an incandescent one, but these glow plugs are super low in resistance. What does that tell you? Ohm's law tells us that if we have a really low resistance, we're going to get a very high current. These are superheated ones. Okay, so just keep an eye on my little test light here, and when I turn on the ignition we should see some flashing here of some description. Okay, we're watching, people. Ignition on. That little light flashed on, didn't it? So that tells us, see, I've just turned it on again, it won't come on because the engine is too hot and the glow plugs are warm. I know my module is working. I've checked several of these glow plug connectors and they're all feeding out the same duty cycle. So what's next? Well, of course, the glow plugs. What are they like? The new glow plugs that I'm using are an NGK. No, I'm not sponsored by NGK, just so that you know what it is. It is a 6286 or a Y8002AS. What's the resistance on those in comparison to what we have in the vehicle itself? All I've done here is hook up my glow plug to my multimeter. One side, which is the section of the element that goes in, which is insulated, the positive side. Negative side, of course, is bolted into the head itself. So what is the resistance that we're getting? Look at that. That's super low, isn't it? Okay, about 0.4, 0.5. So you can imagine the current that's cruising through that bad boy. Okay, how does that compare to the glow plugs that are actually in the vehicle? I've got the negative of my multimeter onto the negative side of the battery. Positive side of my multimeter is on the glow plug, or the actual element side of things. So we should have 0.4, 0.5, whatever. But hang on a sec. That's OL. What does that mean? Outer limits? In actual fact, this is an open. So this glow plug is open. I've checked several others and look, hey, they're all open. Not happy Jan. So yes, time to replace the glow plugs. I'm not going to go into a step-by-step process of pulling out glow plugs. It's just a matter of unscrewing them. And these are going to be a bit painful, so it's going to take me a while to get to them. So I will catch up with you when I've got the others in, or I'm just about to put them in. If you're old and crusty like I am, you really need to look after your knees. Mine are pretty much knackered over the years. So I'm just putting some padding down here. This is the thing that you need to lean on, because this is plastic and this is plastic. You don't want to break it. So just put that neatly over there, big roll of padding, and then you can get to whatever you need to get to. And it's very nice. In fact, they've put a pull handle up here that you can secure yourself as you come in and do your work. This is just one of the brackets that needs to come off. That actually holds the engine cover on. Put him to one side. Sorry for all the noise, guys. Hopefully you can hear me. What I've used is a special hooky thing that I made myself out of a, I don't know, whatever the thing that is. It's got a hook on the end. It's a special hooky thing. It'll be in the exam. Make sure you spell it correctly. So I can get underneath my connectors and just pull the connectors up like that, and they come off quite easily. I'm just about to blow off around the glow plugs so that no dirt, etc. goes into the cylinders. And of course, then finally I'll give her a bit of the lubricant of some description, bit of freeze and release in my case, but whatever works for you guys. Give it a little bit of time to soak in, and then hopefully they should come out easily. These glow plugs are super skinny, and in actual fact I had to go and buy myself an 8mm deep socket just to be able to undo them. So will they undo? Are they going to be a pain in the bum? Let's have a look. Fingers crossed. Let's try this one here, for instance. Okay. Oh, fully sick, mate. She's coming out. Sweet. Just what I like to see. Awesome. Okay. Can I get it out without using a magnet? Here's the MiracleMAX fingers. Fat finger syndrome. Come on, bloke. Nice. Okay, let's have a look at it. Not sure if you can see or not, but it looks like that tip is actually burnt out, doesn't it? You can see that white mark that goes around it, and that's where it's actually open circuited. So yeah, that one came out nicely. Fingers crossed the rest do. I personally like to put on a bit of the old anti-seize. Not everyone agrees with that, but just putting it on the thread, in my opinion, is a great idea, because you want these to come out easily in the future. You don't want to have to mess around with the threat of them sticking in the head. So just a tiny bit of the old anti-seize should remedy that issue. 3 down over this side, done and dusted. 3 to go on this side. Naturally, this is the harder side. What I've had to do is pull off the intake ducting. Wasn't too hard, I must admit. It's just bolted down here, a couple of clamps either side. Get that out of the road. That should give you reasonably clear access to get to the other 3 glow plugs. These don't seem to be quite as bad as I first thought. I've pulled off a vacuum port, Christmas tree type thing, just tied it out the road there. And I've also pulled off this cable tie, and maybe that one there, just to get a little more access to that front one. This one here, not a problem. This fella here, a little hard to get to, but once it's off, you've certainly got some clearance, so that one should not be a problem either. I don't think this is going to be a major issue, guys. It's just a little bit of time, it's all good. It should fix the problem. I will be getting another battery. I've spoken to the customer. I'm going to stick in the correct battery. Hopefully that should sort out all of his issues, apart from the fact that he bought a Jeep. Just something to keep in mind. Now that we've removed our ducting from our intake here through to our turbo impeller there, you want to make sure before you start blowing off with compressed air that you block these intake areas. Okay, you don't want any dust and stuff going in there. That could spell disaster. So make sure that you just cover these, and more importantly, don't forget to pull them off before you put the ducting on, guys. I've seen people leave rags in here and all sorts of stuff, and they get sucked through, do all sorts of damage. So yep, cover it with a rag, just leave it over there loosely, that'll be fine. Then you can quite happily blow it off with air, and then you can put your intake ducting back on after you remove your rags. So was I right with my diagnosis of faulty glow plugs? Let's check them one at a time, shall we? Let's pop him on there, and we should have, what do we got there? Some sort of continuity. 0.6 of a kilo ohm, so that's 640 ohms. Is that close to 0.4 of an ohm? I think not. The ECU will classify that as open. History, next one. This fella here, and we've got, hello, nothing. Okay, that's a definite open. This one here, another definite open. 40 kilo ohms, way out of range. That's history. This one here is a complete open. This one here is another complete open. So yes, diagnosis confirmed, they had it. Just time to install the new battery, then we can try it out. New battery installed, went for the big bad boy here. You're looking at about a 40-month warranty on it. Excellent. It's 750 cold cranking amps in this particular model, but the size of it, she's going to work, mate. Alright, so we've had some glow plugs that were totally verschnookered. Does it work on the dash? Does our light come on the dash? Is the glow plug system going to work? And is it going to start? I did mention before that when I went to the customer's place, I was able to get the glow plug light to come on. I've done all the glow plugs, I've replaced my battery, and it's cooled down quite a bit now. So in theory, we should be able to see that glow plug light come on. Remember, they won't come on for very long, and will the thing start? Glow plug light, there you go. And it starts. Look, the new battery was down a little bit on charge, it just needs to be booted up a little bit, but hey, that started nice in my opinion, sweet as. Part of completing the full diagnosis of any job is making sure that you check and make sure everything works. I've just done another scan of the powertrain control module, and it's still come up with these glow plug circuits, most likely because they were stored. I don't have any freeze frame data that I'm worried about, so let's see what happens here. Let's escape, and let's enter it again and see if we have any stored codes. Fingers crossed we don't. No DTCs, awesome, excellent. Okay, so just put it back together, take a very quick road test, then job's done. What was the problem? Well, 2 things mainly. Buying a Jeep, 3 things I should say, 4 things I should say. Buying from a used car dealer that was only interested in chucking in a really cheap, nasty battery, and of course the verschnookered glow plugs. So yeah, alright, put it back together, see how she goes. After a final road test, the beast lives to break down another day. I'm sure there'll be other videos related to this particular Jeep. There's more work to be done on it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, got some sort of idea of how to do glow plugs, testing, and keep in mind battery is always crucial with regard to these later model vehicles, particularly common rail diesel. So I hope you got something from this video, guys, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, give it a like, feel free to comment down below. Of course, don't forget about that notification bell. You don't want to miss any future videos. Until next time, guys, this is MiracleMAX signing off. I will catch you later.